Thank you for joining Motivational Monday, brought to you by The Bridge Builder. And today we are on part 2 of how to reach your goals. And goals is an acronym. Last week we talked about how you have to give. You have to give a new level of attention. You have to give a new level of activity. You have to give yourself a new attitude. And so today the O stands for how you have to operate. You have to operate in order to reach your goals. You know, over the course of my life, I've driven several cars and owned several cars. We had some junk cars. We had some good cars. And I can remember that anytime I had car trouble, the mechanic wanted to operate the car. Yeah, I would take it into the shop, and the first thing they would do is ask for the keys and permission to drive the car. And as they would drive this car, they would be listening and looking for issues that may be present in the car. And even with new technology, as recent as last year, I had to take my car in and they put it on the machine and they were trying to pinpoint different problems. But even still, the mechanic wanted to operate the car in order to see what might be wrong, in order to figure out how to reach the goal of getting the car back to the condition in which it was meant to be driven in. I suggest to you today that many of you, the reason you have not reached your goals is because you have stopped operating, and you have to start back operating in order to reach your goals. I thought it was interesting that the mechanic, in order to understand what was wrong with the car, he wanted to move the car. And that is point number 1 today. You have to move to stay motivated. For some of you, your greatest issue is stagnation. You have a great idea, you have a moment, an epiphany, an excitement, and then you stop moving because you're trying to figure out the details. You're trying to get other people to support you. You're trying to figure out exactly what to do. And stagnation is a killer to motivation. You have to keep moving. You may not have all the details. You may not have all the information you need. You may not have all the money you need. You may not have all the support you need, but you have to keep moving in order to stay motivated, because the minute you stop moving is the minute that fear is going to set in. Some of you have fear because you're thinking too much into it. You're worried too much about it. You got to keep moving towards your goal. Move to stay motivated. When the mechanic would move my car, he was moving it in order so that he could be motivated to fix it, so he could figure out what was wrong. He would drive it in order to understand what the problem was. Some of you need to keep driving and figure it out along the way. The reason that it hasn't happened for you is because you stopped driving. So number 1 is you have to move to stay motivated. Number 2, and this is what I loved about the mechanic, you have to analyze while you're taking action. See, what the mechanic would do when he would drive my car is he would cut the radio off, and he would often let the window down so he could hear what was happening in the vehicle along the way. For many of you, the reason that things aren't happening the way you want them to happen is because you're moving, but you're not analyzing along the way. You have to analyze while you're taking action. You have to analyze what's happening in your life. That means at every step of your goal, you need to have some measurable and analyze. How am I doing today? How's this working out for me today? How's this going today? How's my life happening in the way that I want it to? You have to analyze while you're taking action. If you're trying to lose weight, you better be weighing in every week. If you're trying to save money, you need to be checking your account every week. If you're trying to reach some other type goal, if it's a business, you got to have your business plan written down. If you're trying to get a new job, you need to be sending out resumes every week and come up with a goal, a number of resumes you want to send out every week. You have to analyze while taking action. So when the mechanic would drive my car, he would be analyzing, listening for details, listening for clues that could tell him exactly what would be wrong with my car as he was moving, as he was operating. Today we're talking about operating. So you have to operate in order to reach your goals. You have to move in order to stay motivated. You have to analyze as you're taking action. And last but certainly not least, what I loved about it was when the mechanic would pull my car into the garage to start to fix it, that represented a pause. And the last thing I need to tell you today is prepare during the pause. So when he would pause and stop moving my car, he was no longer driving it. He will be preparing it for its next move. For some of you, you need to prepare for your next move. You're at a pause in life. You're at a place of stoppage. You're at a place where you're trying to figure it out, but never stop preparing. That means you ought to be reading something. That means you ought to be getting some input so you can get the output that you need. That means while everybody else is asleep, you ought to be awake. That means when everybody else is watching television, you ought to be working on your strategy. You ought to be working on your next move. So if you're at a place of pause in your life, do not take it as you have to stop, because as you're paused, you ought to be preparing for your next move. I hope this keeps you operating. I hope this keeps you moving. I hope this keeps you going towards your goals. This is Motivational Monday, brought to you by The Bridge Builder. For the next several weeks, we're going to be talking about how to reach your goals. The G stood for give. The O stands for operate. Join me next week and we'll deal with the A. I'm excited about what's happening today. I hope you can hear the excitement in my voice, because I'm moving to stay motivated. I'm analyzing while I'm taking action. And even though I'm at a pause in some places in my life, I'm preparing for my next move. I hope to see you next week, 7:45, same time, same place, because as long as there's a Monday, we'll be motivating you. I'll see you next Monday. Share this video.